What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Tiffany and I do movie reactions and tier rankings on this channel on YouTube. But if you're not new here, welcome back, cinephiles. So last year when we finished the Scream series, the 6 movies that were out at the time, I did a tier ranking for the deaths. There was about 54 deaths or so like that. But we now have Scream 7. I just finished filming my reaction to that video, which you will have already seen by the time this goes up. But I wanted to go ahead while it's fresh in my mind and do an updated tier ranking to add in the 10 deaths that we see in this film. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so if you haven't already seen my first video ranking all of these kills, I'll go ahead and link it up above. But if you've already seen it, I went through and put everybody exactly where they were at the end of the last video. And I've got the tiles down here for the 10 new kills that happened in Scream 7. So we are just going to go ahead and add those in where we can. So looking at the tiers, I'll go ahead and go back through them again if you haven't seen this video. So A tier, or the best tier, S tier, is what's your favorite scary movie? That is the most iconic line from the Scream franchise. It's what's on all the t-shirts. It's what's on pretty much all the merch you get for this movie series. B tier is I'll be right back. I put this there because this line is said by Stu in the original script, in the original movie, and it is something that just kind of sticks with you. This tier is deaths that were really good, but something held it back from being A tier, or what's your favorite scary movie. The next tier is my mom and dad are going to be so mad at me. Now, this is pretty much take it or leave it tier. It's fine. It's great. I mean, you have an okay time watching it, but something about it just is very meh, whether it's forgettable or it's just not that great. It is just what it is. The next tier is there are certain rules that one must abide by. If you've seen this series, you expect something from this series. It'd be like watching Friday the 13th and somebody not dying by machete when you've come to expect it. There are just certain things that you expect from a Ghostface killing or a Scream killing. So if it lacks that, that's what tier it would go in. And the last tier is not in my movie. These are the deaths that I just was not a fan of at all. They didn't scream death to me. They were just ones that I don't enjoy. I don't like watching. I find them boring. I find them kind of stupid, ridiculous. So those deaths are just the ones that I could do without. So let's go ahead and jump right in and see who's first up. First up, we have Scott. Now, Scott and Madison were the opening kills of the film. They come in and do the Mocker House experience, and that is where they come into Stu and later Amber's house, and there's just some chalk outlines set up with white tape, some factoids here and there on note cards. There's even a spot where a TV is laid face down on top of a chalk outline to show where Stu might have died. There is that motion detected Ghostface. It's very much trying too hard, but it seems like they only did it on the first level. Now, granted, we don't see anything on that second level. But Scott's death comes after Madison has kind of figured out that it's not just a motion detectable figure anymore. She hears a crash, and Scott's actually the one that says that it had moved. His death, for it being the first death in the film, is actually kind of shocking. He does get stabbed, he gets attacked, we kind of expected that, but what gets it for me is when he's looking down at Madison and Ghostface puts the knife through his head and his eyeball just kind of like turns and nearly pops out. And that's what makes it just so crazy for me. So I'm actually going to put his death in. I'll be right back. It's not the best death for me, but I very much enjoy it. Now, next up we have Madison. Madison is Scott's girlfriend. She is also there in that opening scene. Her death, like Scott's, is insane, but it's just a little bit worse for me. She is hanging from the banister and the chandelier and winds up falling onto the knife. Ghostface turns and flips, and she gets stabbed. And at first, I'm like, okay, well, it's just a little gut stab. She could probably still fight that off. We've seen it happen before. But then she gets doused in gasoline and lit on fire, which is just why? Why do that to me? That's just rude. Like, how rude can you be? So I'm actually going to put her death, strictly because of the rudeness, up into what's your favorite scary movie. When she hit that knife, I felt it. And then you're thinking, get up, go, 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 go. But as soon as they come in there with the gasoline and they light her on fire, it's horrific. It's terrible. Next, we are going to look at Aaron. Aaron was a high school student that did the play with the other characters. He was basically operating the joist that, I don't know what it's called. It helped Hannah, McKenna Grace's character, go up and down. Um, he gets his throat slashed. It's very much just a throwaway, so he's going to go straight into not in my movie. There's not much to say about him. He's in one scene prior to this, and then he dies. It's very much comes off as a patent for the numbers, and just to get him out of the way. It makes no sense. You could have had him get angry at her for being a quote unquote diva and leave to go to the restroom and then come back and find her dead. But instead, they chose to slit his throat. It's very just meh. And speaking of Hannah, next we have Hannah. Her death is going straight into what's your favorite scary movie. I was terrified of that death. To think about being hoisted up into the air and flung back and forth, you have no ability to defend yourself, you have no weapon, you can't even reach a weapon. The most she could have done is grabbed that wall and potentially pulled it down, but what was that going to do? And then she just gets cut up, and then she gets her guts spilled out. It was horrific to think about. She did not stand a chance unless Sydney had gotten there sooner, and she didn't. And then you have that scene afterwards where after she's found and the lights are on the stage and she's kind of silhouetted and her guts are just kind of falling out of her or hanging out of her. It's nope. I'm good. The thought of not being able to defend myself when I am being attacked is one of the worst thoughts that I will ever have in these movies. Because at least with some of these other deaths, I can try to defend myself. I can try to attack them back, get the upper hand, run away. She can't run away. She can't defend herself. She was helpless. And by the time they started cutting at her, you knew she was not going to get out of it. Then we are going to have Carl Gibbs. Carl is the... Carl? He is the first Ghostface that is unmasked in this film. He only appears in 2 scenes, and then he gets ran over by Gale, which is a really cool way to bring Gale's character back into it, as well as Mindy and Chad. But for me, it was just very much my mom and dad are going to be so mad at me. He didn't matter, and I felt like they gave him that death only to bring Gale back into it. And even when they unmasked him, they were like, who is that? Like, it was very much just more of a shock value of having somebody run him over. But there wasn't any blood and guts. There wasn't a lot of gore to it. He was just there. So I'm going to put it in my mom and dad are going to be so mad at me. Next, we are going to have Chloe Parker, and I'm actually going to put hers into there are certain rules one must abide by. Chloe and her friends are at her parents' tavern, and she gets attacked by Ghostface. She winds up stabbing Chad in the chest when he goes to grab her. Why he would grab her when all this is going on, when you know there's a Ghostface in there, or you at least think there's a Ghostface in there, I don't know. That was a stupid choice on his part. However, she winds up getting thrown across the bar, and she hits a row of glasses that shatter on the floor, and when she lands, one cuts her throat open. It's very much an accidental death in the way of she was going to die, but they did not intend for her to die that way. So I thought that was really sad. What is even more sad is what happens after her death with her interaction with Lucas. But her death, I felt like there could have been more from it. If you given her this big chase scene like she has, to have it end by her accidentally dying by falling on glass, it doesn't necessarily work as well as it could have. Then we are going to have Lucas. I'm going to go ahead and throw him straight up into what's your favorite scary movie. And yes, I understand that that means that 3 deaths from this movie go into what's your favorite scary movie. Lucas's death is absolutely horrific to me. He is killed by his own mother. She claims that it's because he reminds her of his abusive father, but the fact of the matter is, all that's really going on with him. Sorry, my dog's trying to get in. All that is really going on with him is that he is a horror and true crime enthusiast. That does not make him an abusive person. So the fact that she did end his life says more about her than it does about him, and he spends the entire movie trying to convince people that he is fine, that he's not crazy or anything like that, and then he is killed. He's actually pulled to the girl that he likes, which is Chloe, and he holds her hand for a moment before his mother stabs him with the tap, impales him on it, and then when the body settles, it opens the tap and beer and blood come out of his mouth. It is a horrific scene, and it makes it even worse knowing that his mother did it and he died, thinking that his mother loved him, thinking that he could save the girl he loved, thinking that he could save his mom from all this, and turns out his mom was the one behind the mask. It's horrifying. It's absolutely ridiculous. Then we are going to have Ben. I'm going to put Ben in. My mom and dad are going to be so mad at me. I didn't really care about Ben's death. I felt like they pushed so hard for him to be like the next Billy Loomis, with the deep fakes and everything. And then when he gets stabbed, it was very reminiscent of when Billy gets stabbed in the first movie. And then he comes back and rolls down the stairs and everything. So I thought that they did it just to show that he wasn't Billy, but also it was set up in the same way that you kind of wondered if he was going to be coming back, and it happened so quickly after he reunited with Tatum that it didn't matter as much because we were still so concerned about Tatum's safety. So I was sad that he had to die, but his character had spent so long being criticized for his appearance, for his sheer existence, that it just didn't matter as much when he died. Now we're going to be looking at Marcus. Marcus is the second Ghostface that is unmasked, and I'm going to put his death into Not in My Movie. He is there, and he gives a very, very limited motive for the killings, that he worked at the same mental institution that Carl and Jessica, the other 2 Ghostfaces, were at. There's not really an explanation as to why he's one of the Ghostface, and then when it comes time for him to die, he's just shot in the head by Sydney. So it was very much like a why are you here type situation. So I didn't care about him or his death whatsoever. I do love Ethan Embry, though. That's the gentleman who plays him. But his death just didn't matter. It was ridiculous. And for it to be a Ghostface, I'm going to have to care about your death. I'm going to have to want your death to happen, or I'm going to have to be shocked by your death. Now, granted, I did put Carl, and my mom and dad are going to be so mad at me because his death is shocking when Gail runs him over. But Carl was a little bit higher because of that. Marcus, not so much. And then we are going to look at Jessica. Jessica, I'm going to put in I'll Be Right Back. Her death scene is the best of the 3 ghost faces in this film, because she does face off with Sydney 1-to-1. Sydney winds up using a screwdriver to stab her repeatedly, and then her and Tatum both go gun crazy and shoot her several times in the face, causing her entire face to fall off. So that was shocking in a way that most things are not that shocking. So I was very surprised by that one. I also very much enjoyed that death because her excuse for being Ghostface made zero sense. It just made her sound crazy. And I can kind of see where they're going with, people just become obsessed with true crime and the victims and all of that. It's definitely true. It has happened in the world. But the way that it was portrayed in this film is not necessarily as good as it could have been. So I didn't really care about her as much. The only reason her death is going up into B tier is because of her face falling off. So, yeah. Alright, guys, that was the updated kill ranking or death tier ranking for Scream and including Scream 7. This is the most recent one, and if they do a Scream 8, I will include it on this ranking, as well if I ever decide to do the TV series. I have seen every episode of the TV series personally a couple of years ago, but if I ever decide to do a reaction to it, I will also add those deaths onto it. If you guys want to see that, go ahead and leave this video a comment and let me know if you want to see that. But I'm very happy with where I've put those deaths on there and that I was able to keep this updated as we go. I do enjoy doing these tier rankings, and I always wondered what I would do if there was a new film, because I know that I waited to do Final Destination until after Bloodlines came out. But I'm very happy with how this turned out, so I may continue to do that as the films keep coming out. I'm going also to be doing a kill ranking for like Friday the 13th and stuff, and I think I will film that segment as I film the movies. I haven't filmed part 1 or the remake yet, but I gotta rewatch those. So I will be doing that. If you enjoy these death tier rankings, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I have a ton of content coming your way. I mentioned in my Scream 7 reaction that I've planned out for the rest of the year, and I'm trying to get all that together, so that's exciting. But the next video that you'll be seeing is another new release, and then so I'm doing 2 new releases, and then we'll go back to an older movie. So that's exciting for me because I'm excited to see these next 2 films. But I was going to do this at the end of the month when it came to Paramount Plus, but I wanted to go ahead and knock it out since I was able to get a hold of it on Amazon, which I'm very excited that I was able to do. So, yeah. If you haven't already, go ahead and leave this video a like, as well as leaving me a comment down below letting me know if you would have put any of these deaths in another tier and why. I would love to hear your opinion. Until next time, Cinephiles.